Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure and welcome to Get Back to Work, a series in which I work backwards. And we're on Power Washing Simulator. It wasn't even requested that I do Power Washing Simulator for this, but I just want to get this flipping garden finished. And that's how they get you. They rope you in to some old flipping rubbish, and then you kind of go, oh, I'll finish that because I can't leave it not finished. I don't care. I do not care. I don't care. Today's topic, friends, is on the subject of your 30s. Yeah. Yeah, I've switched to the 15-degree nozzle here because I need a little bit more punch through. Yeah, and I'm getting that now. Definitely getting a bit more punch through on the 15th, on the 15 whatnot. Anyway, today is the 7th of September, or it better be if I've queued it up correctly. And today's request comes from Laura, and Laura says, "Happy anniversary, there, James. Thank you for looking after me, Laura. Obviously, I'm inhabiting Laura, and the Danger Bun, who is a rabbit." Anyway, Laura reached out after when I had Wizio shut down for several months, which I did. Laura jumped through many a hoop in order to try and get in touch with me and say, like, "Oh, could you do one of them cheeky videos where you talk rubbish at the end of one of your videos?" And I don't do that anymore. Instead, I talk rubbish for the entirety of a video, and it seems to be working rather well. So I've done you a whole video, and this is it. You didn't request Power Washing Simulator, but I had a feeling that it might go down well. Anyway, the subject that you'd like me to cover in this one is you said you're very happy together, and you're both on the cusp of hitting your 30s, and therefore, what guidance can I offer about being in your 30s? And you go, oh, good topic. And I've given this one a moderate amount of discussion in the past, but I'm going to do it again because there's always something new to say. Frankly, I'm going to have this door done before you know it. Look at this. That's coming up. That's coming up lovely. I hope you can't open the door. You can't. Oh, thank God for that. I don't want to clean the inside as well. Right, so your 30s. Now, I have described the stages of life as I understand them from my own experience. I've done that previously. But to recap, at the age of 20, you know everything. Right? You've been turned loose on the world with a modicum of knowledge, and as such, it fills you with a rather inflated sense of what you understand about the world, and all you can really see is how other generations are getting it wrong. And this is why there is quite a lot of generational friction from time to time, because the stuff you care about when you're 20 is very different to what you care about as you get older. And that's fine. This is how it's supposed to be. Idealism in your 20s is perfectly natural, and to be understood. And there is a tendency to see everything in as either black or white. You don't appreciate nuance quite so much. And I think that appreciation of grey areas largely comes up as a result of the generations following you doing things slightly differently. Now, again, I apportion no fault to any generation, age group, or anything along those lines, because as you see more of it, you gradually build an understanding of that's just life. Oh, crikey, I was wrong all this time. So you're slightly overconfident, you're slightly idealistic, you're wary of the injustice that affects you and people of your age, and as a result, 20-year-olds are a flipping nightmare. I was one, I've known many, and they all have been as well. Right, an absolute chuffing nightmare. Not their fault, they're not to know any better, only experience teaches you better. By the time you reach 30, what you're aware of is, oh, hang on, I don't know everything. congratulations, it took you 10 years. And this isn't something that clicks in on your 30th birthday. It's something that you accumulate over time. So the closer you get to being 30, the more likely it is that this groundbreaking piece of wisdom has kind of like sunk in. Is like, actually, you don't know everything. But the problem that comes up when you're around 30 is you know what you do know, and as such, you have a rather inflated sense of how important that knowledge is, and therefore you accept your limitations, but you rather oversell the stuff that you're good at, or the stuff where you do have expertise. I think I'm going to need a ladder to get up there. I might be able to clean it off just by a bit of tactical overspray there. We'll see. Yeah. And again, there is no blame to be apportioned there in the slightest. But you know, that's just a thing that happens. And as a result, people at the age of 30, they're fine. They're okay. Same as people at the age of 20. People at the age of 30 are not a flaming nightmare. They're on the what are we? Oh, I've toggled aim mode. I want aim mode. I'll use the yeah. Oh, hang on. If we use aim mode, hold on. Oh, the camera doesn't wiggle around quite so badly. Okay, that's worth having, I suppose. I don't like it. No, I'd rather move around like that. Okay, right, fine. And then by the age of 40, now I'm on the cusp of 50. I'll hit 50 next year. I couldn't tell you what I'd learned. It might take me until I'm 55 before I understood the transition that occurred at 50. And that's because I've gone through an unnatural transition. But, well, it is natural, but at the same time it's maybe atypical as far as transitions are concerned. Whatever. Anyway, what I will say is that the amount you change between the age of 20 and 30 is dramatic. The differences in personality and what's important to you in your life, and the things you do care about versus the things that you let slide, the difference is quite significant. You're a very different person at 30 than you were at 20. And a lot of that comes out through... Important note, I am generalising, and I am generalising based off my own life experiences. You are entirely permitted to disagree vehemently with absolutely everything. Alright? Entirely permitted. This is opinion based on what I have witnessed firsthand. Alright? I'm not parroting somebody else's guidance unless I call it out. This is based on what I've seen and what I've done. So there are going to be exceptions to anything I declare as a rule, and that's fine. You may well be one of those exceptions. I never did military service, and I know a lot of you have done. And that's going to put an entirely different complexion on what you've got up to. I've never been in significant trouble with the law. I know many of you have been. I joke. I don't know how many of you have. I imagine some of you have. And therefore, your life experience is going to be completely different. I had all the advantages that I had growing up, in that I had a decent childhood. I had professional parents, both of whom were teachers, before my dad became a union man, and therefore a stable upbringing where I had plenty of opportunities. All right, there you go. So my life experience is going to be different to that of other people. But we're talking about my life experience. So shh, back in your box. But you are allowed to disagree. So the difference between the age of 20 and 30 is significant. Because you evolve a lot over that time. And the main thing that changes is what's important. When you're young, and especially when you're single, there's an awful lot of your time that is spent in pursuit of leisure, entertainment, and meeting someone who takes your fancy. You deploy a lot of effort. Again, I'm generalising. A lot of effort is deployed in that kind of pursuit, and then you find someone that you quite like, and you get together with them, and that one doesn't work out, so you get together with someone else, and that works out. And eventually you find someone who can tolerate you as much as you tolerate them, and that's a good place to be. And so you put some kind of unit-based existence together where you cease to be an I and start to be a we. At the same time, you have moved ideally beyond the point. We're talking about 30s, right? You've moved beyond the point where you're desperately trying to do any kind of work that doesn't just make you want to blow things up, unless that is your job. You've got some work that is paying you not necessarily enough, but you're getting closer. You can feel like you're on a track that is actually leading in the right kind of direction. I mean, much is going to depend on your life goals, but I knew from a very early age that what I wanted was the traditional kind of family unit. I wanted a nice house. I wanted a really big house. I wanted all that stuff, right? I bought into it all, the whole shebang. Family and kids and a big house and a good car and all of that kind of gubbins. I signed up for every single shred of that kind of behaviour. But having a nice house, dream on. Housing in the UK, I can speak for the UK and to an extent the West overall, but I have to point out the Germans at this point, and possibly other Europeans as well. Is that house ownership is a very British thing. In Germany, I know particularly that owning your own house is seen as far less important, far less something that matters. Rental is far stronger a way to go. That doesn't mean there's no house ownership. It just means that it is less commonplace than it is in the UK. The aspiration for Englishman's home is his castle. Very much a British thing. Hold on, you've missed a bit. You need this to go ping and then everybody will be happy with you. Well, I wouldn't go that far. Alright, they'll be happy. There we go. So it's gone ping. I've cleaned the lawnmower handle. Yeah, I'm sure they would have marked me down for that. Yeah, while they were doing. They're not anymore. Let's go and do the swing set. So you're on a path, and it's a path that you've set yourself on. You've made some decisions along the way, rightly or wrongly, that have led you to where you are. And you've got a few moments in your life that, looking back on, you kind of go like, I'd probably have done that differently. And I think the big difference from 30 to 40 is that instead of going, I might have done that differently, if you've been fortunate enough to make some good moves, and you've been, relatively diligently following the track that you set out for yourself, then you kind of go, I've made some duff decisions in the past, but they all contributed towards where I am now. Shut up, Calvin, I'm in the middle of something. And so you no longer have regrets to quite the same degree. Obviously, there's things that you would do differently. Obviously, there's things that you would do better or otherwise, or decisions that you wouldn't make. One of mine is smoking. Right now, I have often thought, in the presence of a time machine, where would I go? I would go back to 19-year-old me, 19 when I started smoking. Flipping idiot. Old enough to know better, old enough to be somewhat immune to peer pressure. I started smoking because all of my friends at university were smoking. And I didn't necessarily feel left out. I think undoubtedly I did to some degree, but the single thought, and I'm not making up my state of mind here, it is because there was a deliberate thought behind it, which was, I reckon that's something I'd be good at. I reckon I'd be really good at smoking. Turns out I was right. Absolutely top weasel at it. I have quit so many times. I've got to get it out of my system. Yeah, I know I still do, and I know it's completely stupid. And I'll be honest, over the last couple of months, I've gone like, oh, what the hell? If something grisly wants to come and finish me off sooner rather than later, I don't know. Yeah, and that's a different video. It's a different video, which is finding purpose after your purpose is gone. Yeah, that's a different one. That's a good one waiting to happen. I need to dwell on it a bit more, I think, but even so, that's a good video waiting to happen. Yeah, so, I mean, there are decisions that you'd go back and change, but as you hit 40, there are fewer of them. There are fewer things that you would go back and change. But smoking. When I was still in school, but probably 17, 18, something like that, I had a girlfriend who smoked, and at the time I didn't. And I was tops at kissing. Still am. Yeah. I've always had favourable reviews. But I had a girlfriend who smoked, and I didn't, and it was disgusting. It was absolutely horrible. Yeah, it was just not good. I mean, herself, God bless her, she would. She'd always give me a warning if she'd just had a cup of coffee. She'd go, I've had coffee in the last couple of minutes. I go, oh, thanks, because coffee's disgusting. But it's the same kind of deal. If there is something that a flavour that you find just completely unpalatable, there's nothing worse for it. And here's the thing: my first wife was a smoker. In fact, you would, in the early 90s and in the mid 90s, you would be hard pressed to find a Generation Xer who didn't smoke. Because, I mean, I know there were loads. Smokers have always been in the minority, but there was a massive self-destructive streak that went through a certain portion of Gen X. And smoking was part of it. Not to mention the fact, of course, that all of our movie-related teen rebels, they all smoked and they were cool. I can't remember a single movie with Christian Slater where he wasn't sparking up every 30 seconds. Yeah, and so, you're being bombarded on all sides by, this is a thing you should totally get up to. So my first wife smoked. And that was great, and it was compatible. And you spend a lot of time together when you're smoking in any kind of environment, particularly after smoking bans come in and you have to do it outside. Great place to meet people who are also equally unhealthy. And then herself, she also smoked. And if I went back and I gave if I Batman slapped 19-year-old me and knocked a cigarette out of my mouth when I was about to have the first one and go, what the bloody hell are you thinking? Then neither of those relationships would have happened. Neither of them. And that's interesting, because that means that my kids wouldn't be here. Yeah, that's not something that I want an undo button on. And don't get me wrong, having triplets and a stepdaughter at the age of 24, that really does change the path that you're on. It really makes you focus on things that otherwise you probably would have been going, oh no, I'm going to go out and spend it all on beer. No, you spend it on flipping nappy and school uniform. But it's all good. Regrets, I have a few, but I regret none of it. They are. That's the thing. So yeah, as you hit 30, you should be on your path, right? Whatever the path is that you've laid out for yourself, you'll be moving along down it. And so the money worries that you had when you were in your early 20s, you've still got money worries. You're not there yet, but they're fewer. They're not as bad. You are starting to get somewhere. Now, house ownership, that's where we went. That's the direction we went in there. If you're lucky, or if you've had help from the family, or you've made the right moves at the age of 15, when you first get a part-time job, get a part-time job. Put all of the money in a bank account, all of it, or investments, but safe investments. Don't sling it in Bitcoin, it's far too flipping volatile. Yes, you can make an absolute shed load of cash on Bitcoin, but there is no guarantee. You put your money into a nice defensive stock like a water utility company, or power generation, something along those lines, you'll be fine. That's going to go up, and it will earn you a better rate of return than anything else. I am not a financial advisor. Take everything I've said with a pinch of salt, because I'm hopeless with money. All right? But that's something that I didn't do. And therefore you can probably go, man hopeless with money recommends something he didn't do. Intriguing. I don't know if I've pinged everything on this swing set. I bet if I were to crouch here, we might be able to find some underside bits that still need doing. And I think when it pings, it gets rid of the last couple of bits for you. Yeah, we're at 85%. Okay. Alright. See, it looks like there's a bit there. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It might just be shadow, though. No, no. That was definitely filth. Alright, okay, stand up. No, lie down with me hose pipe. Let's get to work. Yeah, yeah, when you at the age of 15, start putting money in a bank account. Right? Student loans and all that kind of behaviour, take them. Don't spend your own money on paying for your education. The rate of repayment is very slow and easy to get with. But if your aspiration is, at some point you wish to own a house of some description, the best time to own a house is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. It's like planting a tree in that regard. Okay, that's done. Right, what's next? Our flipping flower beds. All right, well, get to work. Yeah. Once you own a house, initially it's tough, but it ends up being so much better than renting. Now you might go, oh, it's my house, but yeah, you'll go like, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to fix that, and I want to improve this and that and the other, and all of that kind of business. And when I say house, I mean apartment, flat, flipping, caravan, anything in which you reside, which later on you can sell to someone else to reside, right? Because you're not giving money to a landlord, and landlords are, I don't blame anyone for being a landlord, but you are parasitic scum who suck the lifeblood out of the entire world. There you are. So, yeah. I should talk you through my policies for house ownership. Should we do that now? Yeah. Okay, house policies for house ownership. Alright. You're allowed a house to live in. Alright. You got one? Good, okay. Now, you decide to spin some of your money off and get a second house to rent out to people. Okay, I'm okay with that. You know why I'm okay with that? Because some people don't have the money. Some people don't want to buy a house, and therefore we will need a certain degree of rental opportunities out there. So you rent out your second house, and that's a nice little earner, because the money that comes in from that is paying off your mortgage. Now, where it all goes wrong is when you then leverage the equity you've built up in that property to buy another one. And then you leverage the equity in those two to buy another couple. And on, and on, and on, and on. I know that there is a landlord operating in Kent, and this is from data a couple of years old, so it's probably even worse than that now. A landlord operating in Kent who owns 20,000 houses. Let's let that sink in. When you have people who own that amount of stuff, you are no longer in capitalism, you are in feudalism, because you are working purely to pay landowners. Now, I mean, we've got our twisted monarchy. By twisted, I don't mean the monarchy is twisted. You may feel differently, but I don't. I think they're a really fantastic tourist attraction, and I'm largely okay with it. I think that Her Majd, by and large, is a good egg. I think that the rest of them, however, we can probably do without them. We can probably do without them, and that we should probably seriously look into to abandoning that setup after this generation's done. Anywho, I'll carry on. Yeah, would be better to collapse it naturally, tell them to go get a job, than wait for the inevitable collapse, which will come. Where were we? Sure. Oh, I've got a dirty bit here that I haven't done. Oh, super. Right, we'll just do the marching up and down approach. Okay, let's go. Where was I? Yeah, landlord, 20,000 properties, you're into feudalism, and that's disgraceful. So, here's the when I sweep to power plan, everybody. You ready? Right, brace yourselves. Your first house, you're allowed to own it. That's good. Second house that you own, that you rent out to people, you're allowed to do that. Obviously, it is taxed at the usual kind of rate. Third house you own is taxed at 75% of the income you make from it. The fourth house is at 80%. The fifth, 90%, and so on. Every additional property adds 5% to the amount of revenue you have to pay in tax. Yes, it will go beyond 100%. Yeah. If you end up paying 1,000% of any income you make from something as tax, well, that's on you. Maybe sell the house to someone who would like it. Why is this important? Because I firmly believe that people who own their houses not only take better care of the house that they own, in addition, they care more about their local environment. They care more about crime and appropriate social behaviour, and looking out for people and making sure that littering isn't too big a factor. Fundamentally, if you own your house, you take better care of the area because that's your investment. And at some point you might want to flog it, and therefore running down the house prices in the area, not such a great idea. So the more people we can get to own houses, the better it is for society. In my humble opinion. You're allowed to disagree. Would I do this all at once? No. I'll give fair warning. Yeah, it will wreck house prices for a while. And then after that, house prices will be quite a lot lower than they are now, which for those who already own houses is a bit of a drag. But I'd probably nationalise the banks or something at the same time and make it so no one loses out, especially. But helping out future generations when the rest of us have already got ours, then that makes a big difference. So you either own a starter home, or you're on your way towards it, or you're looking at it and going, I got no chance of ever doing this. You will, because by the time you hit 30, you should be on a career path. Not least of all, your CV, which is what we call a resume in this country, curriculum vitae, will have some experience on it. And therefore, you're not necessarily going in at entry level unless you decide to change your career. Steggs, good example. The boy Steggs has changed career path. He's an odd fish, is that Steggs. I like him a lot, but he's an odd character. He could have been every bit the powerhouse community legend that I am. Powerhouse community legend. That's me. But he decided to jump off that because he can't stand the players anymore. And that comes for all of us at some point. The thing with looking after players in the games industry, this is a topic for a separate video, I'll touch on it ever so briefly, is that sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, right? When they're right and you agree with them, it doesn't change the fact you still have to represent the company/game that you work on and for. And it also means that part of your job is then trying to get change enacted within that company, so that you can fix the things that they're saying, should be dealt with, or should be changed, or should be improved, or anything along those lines. The community end up screaming. Now, I mean, that's the people who are reasonable. Most of the people who talk to you most often aren't reasonable. They're removed from reasonable. Not most, some. You get some, and all they do is they just yell at you all the time, and it's absolutely spirit crushing. Which is why an awful lot of community managers bounce out of it after a couple of years and go do something else, because you can't make them any happier. The only thing that would make them happier is if they were to go away. That would make them happier, and it would make you happier too. But sadly, you can't make that happen. And so Steggs has bounced off, and he's going to go and be an artist instead. He's learning all of the 3D art stuff at the moment, and I think a couple of his bits ended up in 2 Point Campus. I think he got a couple of just little tiddly things that Steggs had made. So he's off doing that. But unless you're, and he's, well, how old is he now? He's late 20s. Yeah. But you're probably on your career path. You're probably thinking, oh, family? Not family. At this point, you've probably had that discussion already. If you're married, you're almost certainly going to have that discussion. If you're in a long-term relationship, you've probably had that discussion, or at least touched on it. It's an important one to get out of the way early, because you really don't want to be backing different horses in that particular arena. Oh, that's come up nice. We're at 98%. What do you reckon? Still grubby. I think the fence is done. It might be maybe the underside of this table. No, that's good. That chair's disgusting. Yep, so is this one. Not anymore. Fixed it. Okay, good. Still 98%. All right, let's SAS style it over to this one. All right, with this. Yeah, there you go. So you've got a good feel for what it is you actually want to get out of this existence that you have. And you're fairly certain that you've got the right person who wants to go through it with you. Obviously, I generalise. There are no two lives are identical, and therefore, different people are going to have different experiences of things. I covered this in my caveat at the start, but I cover it again because it's worth pointing out. At flower bed. So you're on your way now. I think that's the point to make at the age of 30, is that you're on your way. You are starting to get sort of, you can see the track that you're on, and you can see that you're going in a direction that you've kind of picked out for yourself, or one that you've found yourself following, even though you never expected that would be the one you were following. Is it the steps? I don't think it's the steps. All right, well, what else can it be? Oh, well, I think somewhere there's probably a little to-do list that will tell you. Roof of the shed. All right, okay. Yeah. And that's good. And the interesting thing about your 30s is that by the time you hit 35-ish, 36, something like that, then you're really on your way. All of that, the old cliche that life begins at 40, they're not wrong. You kind of go, oh, crikey, 40, that's really old. And you kind of go, oh, it just isn't. You get up to some great nonsense at the age of 40. And depending on how you've played your cards, and a lot of that depends on, do you want kids and at what age do you have them? So my brother is a year and a half younger than me, and he had his first Herbert when he was like 39, maybe 38, 39. So he's still got a young sproglet, whereas I've got 6 who are, if not left home, very close to it. The youngest 2 were herself kids, and the younger of the 2, there's 15. He's 16 in not very long at all. And therefore, I'm coming up to the end of kids really being a factor who pay any attention to me beyond special occasions or when summoned. And that's fine. That's how life works. That is the empty nest. My initial aspiration was to empty nest by about the age of 45. But, I got hooked up with someone who had kids. Well, yeah. All right, what have I missed? Go on, you must tell me. Where are we? Clean. 94% is the doghouse roof. Okay, 95% retaining walls and retaining wall caps. Okay. And the lawnmower engine. All right, well, let's go get those. And the swing chair roof. Oh, really? I missed a bit. Yeah, I can see it from here. Yeah, so by the time you hit 40, to kind of finish off my, the ages of people kind of thing. 20, you know everything. 30, you're aware of what you do and don't know. But you are very, very keen to demonstrate just how much you do know about your areas of speciality. Retaining wall. Now, I would say that's these. This is a retaining wall. These are steps, right? So it could be this one. It could be the other one. What, do you want to do just a quick sweep across? Yes, bruv. Yeah, and at 40, You're aware of what you do know, aware of what you don't know, but the thing that makes the difference is you no longer feel obliged to prove it. At 30, you feel obliged to prove your expertise at every opportunity. At the age of 40, you don't. And that makes a big... Tab shows the dirt. Okay, show me the dirt. Where is this filth of which you speak? I'm holding tab. Or is it just tabbing it on? Oh, no, I see you. There you go. There was a bit. Get down again. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Underneath. Right. Okay. Yeah, and that makes a big difference. And also, by the time you hit 40, by and large, not only are you well on the way as far as your plan is concerned, but it's all kind of coming together a little bit. And you kind of go, at that point, you've just got was this plan any good in the first place? I can't help you with that one. You chose that doghouse roof. Okay, I am going to 100% this by the time we've done this video. Yeah, I want shot of this flipping garden, and then there may be some kind of fresh new experience for me. Doubt it. All right. What haven't I got? That all looks good, but let's do it anyway. That all looks good, but let's do it anyway. Yeah. I tell you, the old 15. There you go. Got it. Right. Next. To do, retaining wall, fence post. Give me a clue. Which fence post? There's lots of them. Show me. Identify for me which fence post. You talk the pond rim. Oh, well, that can just do one. I don't give a... I'm doing it, apparently. Also, tell me, what do you mean by rim? Explain to me. All right, I'm under the pond. Show me. Highlight for me the area that is causing so much offence. Is this the pond rim? No, it's pond liner, pond wall. Okay, yeah. Pond edge, pond rim. Oh, that's this sandy bit then, I guess. Yeah, it's the sandy bit. Okay. Yeah, one of there's something missing from in there. But your 30s, right? Okay, so the other thing to bear in mind, this video is going on way longer than I intended. Other things to bear in mind. You'll wake up at one morning in your 30s and some part of your body that was working fine the previous day will stop working. Or will start causing you pain or aggro. Why is it doing this? Why is it doing this? Why, oh, why is it doing this? And it's because you've been doing something to it for the last 10 years and all of a sudden the damage has been caught up to you with it. And now you must suffer and change your ways. I hope in your case that the item in question is something you can moderate your behaviour. It's not here. Look, it should be glowing or some such. It's not though. It's just not. It's not. Maybe that bit's done. Maybe it's up here. Okay, show me. Oh, okay, I found it. Right, next fence post. Which fence post? It's not that one. I don't think it's this one. I'm holding down to show me which flipping one it is. Don't think it's that one. No, alright, give them a dousing anyway, just to be on the safe side. What else? 30s. Yeah, okay, so the money starts getting sorted. Your relationship is mostly sorted by the time you're 30s. Obviously, some people get a bit unlucky with that. But a lot of that is fallout from you changing radically. Certainly, in my case, it was down to the change between who I was in my 20s and who I was in my 30s. And I've not changed since my 30s. I mean, I've evolved maybe a little bit, you know, but not in a massive fashion. That was glowing. It's now not. But evidently, that was not it. Keep your eyes open. Could be the other side of the wall. Could be the other side of the wall. It's not the other side of the wall. Right. Anything glowing at all? Not that I can see. Alright, where is it? There's a little bit of filth in here somewhere. This is sure. Do you count as retained? No, your step wall. Your step wall. Use the tooltip, son. Alright. Get down to ground level. There. There's some gunge in there, look. Alright, okay. Yeah, I got that bit. That's step edging, retaining wall. Well, I think we got a bit more of it there. Yeah. Anything else? 30s. Yeah, 30s is about, you know, you've now got a path and you're on it. I think we've covered that. I'm just about done here, but you all want this to get to 100%, right? Because I do. I just want to find the last bit. Where is it? Oh, hold on. Is that a hotter or colder bar that comes up there? You see, this wall, there's nothing on that one. This one has got a little splodge there. Okay, all right. In which case, let's just thorough it and see what we find. While we're lying in the garden here, in the flower bed, pressure washer, pressure washing. Okay, yeah. I'm not optimistic, no. Is it the underside of these bricks? Maybe the underside of the next bricks? I don't know, just be methodical, get through everything, and maybe this will sort it for us. Yeah. Anyway, I've been Colonel Failure, everybody. Thank you very much to Laura for sending this request through, and James and the Danger Bun. Whatever. I hope you have a terrific... Done it. Boom. Yeah. Give me the money. Yeah. I hope you have a tremendous anniversary, and that everything goes well. It actually recorded the work that I'd done. Oh, that's a fantastic little feature. What a great little feature. Oh, show me again. Because it showed the Wizio advert there. There you go. Wait for it. Clean a bit. Get bored a bit, clean a bit more. Yeah. There you go. Wizio.com/Colonel_Failure. And that's where you need to go if you want one of these videos where you decide what the topic of the day is, and you decide what the game of the day is, in which I will be pursuing the topic of the day. I've been Colonel Failure. Thank you very much for watching. Cheerio.